I think it is important that you look at a city holistically. I find that a lot of the time in North America, we tend to look at things like, let's say, bike lanes, but the same could be said for transit or anything else. We look at it very much like at a street level. Like, for example, I was on the radio in CBC London after a video I made about Wonderland Road, because they wanted to Wonderland Road's full of traffic and it needs to be expanded from 4 lanes to 6, they say, which is insane, because
One more lane.
a city the size of London, Ontario should have no 6-lane roads. It's absolutely ludicrous. People should be looking at that and saying, what the hell is wrong with you? We don't need 6-lane roads. But, instead they say, what is wrong with you? We can't have an LRT. But anyway, so I was interviewed with them and they said, oh, well, if you don't think that this is the right solution for Wonderland Road, though, what fix would you put in place for Wonderland Road? And I think this is often the way it's looked at. It's looked at kind of this street by street basis. It's not looked at holistically at all. And so they'll look at this and say, well, okay, yeah, Wonderland Road is full of cars. But what are you going to do about it? Because you can't just fix Wonderland Road. You can't just come in and take a 5-lane strode through the center of the city with a bunch of big box stores on it, stick some bike lanes on it and say, yep, job done. And I see this done all the time, where they'll look at a street design from the Netherlands. They'll come in and say, okay, well, we're redesigning the street, so let's do it the way that the best practices do it. This is a good idea, right? But then they'll just slap it down. But then it's this block out of context of the rest of the city. And you get the situation where it's like, well, nobody's using the bike lanes. Well, yeah, where are they going to go? How do they get there? It doesn't go to their homes. It doesn't go to like when they get to the shop, they have to cross an acre and a half of parking before they get there. Of course, nobody's going to bike in this place.
So where do you start then?
Yeah, so I think the trick is, first of all, you need to start looking at some examples that are relevant in the context of what you have. And again, I think street design is a big portion of this. I've joked before that if you just redesigned your street guidelines to be something like Copenhagen, wait 30 years, your city's fixed. But there is certainly an element of that. Streets need to be redesigned every 30 years. So you really should have better guidelines in place right now, because we should be building safer streets, better streets, wider sidewalks. Protected bike lanes should be the norm. Just like in Canada, I know if you look at some neighborhoods from, say, the 60s, they don't have sidewalks. They're built without sidewalks at all. Even the big arterial roads are built without sidewalks. Since then, we've changed things in Canada. And you cannot build a neighborhood without sidewalks anymore. This is just a thing we realized that was really dumb. Why did we do that? Let's change the regulations so that every new street has sidewalks. But also, every time a street is rebuilt, because streets need to be rebuilt every 30 years. And you'll see this happen all the time in Canada. There'll be some road, some street. It needs to get redesigned. It needs to get rebuilt because it's been 30 years and the road bed's all destroyed and it all needs to be ripped up and done again. This is a normal thing that happens with infrastructure. And then it gets rebuilt and sidewalks are there. We need to start building it to say that we also need to put bike lanes there. We also need to put transit lanes in. These, definitely that is a piece of it. But fundamentally, what Canada needs to do, and the United States certainly as well, is better land use. Because fundamentally, that's the piece that we're missing when it comes to cities in Canada. We waste land. We're a big country and we have lots of land. But to be honest, a lot of that land is permafrost in the Canadian Shield. We really shouldn't be so wasteful with our land. Or it's valuable farmland. You don't want to look up the numbers of hectares of good arable farmland that are destroyed every single year in Canada to build single-family homes. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. But you'll see this sometimes, certainly in the United States, but you see it in Canada too, where you'll sometimes be driving out of the city and there'll be some old crappy strip mall. And there's one tenant left in it, right? And otherwise it's empty. It's garbage. Nobody would want to be there. You drive another 5 minutes out of the city and there's a new shiny big box store with a bunch of stores that are, there's the new Best Buy and the new whatever and the new Costco. And it's what are we doing? Why are we building this new stuff on the periphery when we've got land that is underutilized? And we very often do this in Canadian cities.
To learn more about the issues affecting Canada's young urban middle class, please follow The Missing Middle.